Hi, welcome. It's Mike Newton down here at Lytham Golf Academy. We've got a brand new product to review here from Ping, and it's a new i210 iron. So obviously i210 is replacing i200, which was a very popular iron. And I think visually looking at this, it looks very, very similar, but there's some big features added to this, some big benefits, some changes under the hood here that we need to sort of discuss and go into a little bit more detail. Going to hit some shots here. I've got a 5 iron, a 7 iron and a pitcher wedge. Got GC2 set up here. So I'm going to hit some shots with each of those irons, give you some feedback of the feel, the looks, maybe the sort of golf this is aimed at, and then we'll look a little bit more detail in terms of ball numbers. So just before we jump into the video, do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Bottom right hand corner of the screen, MMG logo. Get subscribed, get notifications of any future videos as soon as they drop onto my channel. If you hit that bell icon, you will definitely get pinged. As soon as the video goes live, you'll be notified straight away. If you're liking the content I'm doing, then do comment down below, hit the like button, and obviously share the video around. So i210 iron from Ping here. Now this iron is very much it's been a very popular iron on tour. Obviously iBlade has really took up the majority percentage of golfers on tour using it. i210 is very much sort of in there in the performance out on tour, especially with the lady LPGA Tour. I think it's about 85% of the Ping players there playing the i200 series. So this is obviously replacing the i200 iron, and I think visually when you first look at that you think it just looks exactly the same, but there's a bit happening here, and I'm going to go through this as we hit some shots. So again, we're seeing this beautiful finish, this Hyperpearl, a new Hyperpearl 2.0 finish here, so stunning finish on the golf club. And putting that down by the golf ball, we're seeing maybe a sort of medium top line there, a little bit of offset there, but a very, very nice shaping. It's a stunning looking golf club. Again, that white bottom groove there, I think it always helps with a little bit of alignment there. But first impressions there, putting that down, it looks really stunning and inviting to hit, and doesn't look scary at all. You know, it looks like I've got a little bit of buffer there if I do miss the middle of the golf club. So I'm going to hit the 5 iron first, then the 7, then the wedge. I've got myself set up out here at 205 yards from the green. Now the 5 iron here is 26 degrees of loft. And as I mentioned maybe in the preview video, the i500, which I'll put a little link up and you can go and check that out. They're still offering the power spec, which is roughly sort of 1 to 1.5 degrees stronger in the lofts, depending on which iron it is, because they just changed to get the gapping right. Stronger, so if you're looking for that little bit more distance, then you know that power spec will give you that option. But I think what a great thing Ping have done here is they've offered a retro spec. Okay, and I've never seen this done by any other brand here. So basically these lofts are 2 degrees weaker in the retro spec from the standard lofts. Okay, so maybe for the golfer who wants that ultimate spin control but doesn't worry too much about distance, retro spec is definitely, I would say, going to hit the mark, really. So I think it's a great offering from Ping there as they extend their custom fit options here. You know, they're pioneers of custom fit. They brought it out to market, and you know they're keeping that at the forefront of their club designs, basically. So I'm going to hit this 5 iron first. Say 205 out from this green. I say that looks stunning as I put that down by the golf ball. It really does look great. Let's get this first one hit. Oh, it's lovely. Just took that a touch there, but that's flighted out there really nicely. Yeah, just missed that green left. Shame that. I just struck that quite nicely there. Okay, so that's 197 yards here. So maybe not going to see as much distance as we saw probably the i500. Again, you can go and look at that video and have a look at the sort of numbers I got with that i500. But this iron here, I think Ping, obviously the i500 is a player's power iron. Okay, this is precision. So the Ping are looking more this as a precise hitting golf club, a more controlled spin number or more consistent spin number. It'd be very interesting to sort of see that on the screen. Wow, again, that's such a high towering ball flight. You know, that's coming in and going to pretty much stop, I would say, quite quickly. Yes, that's carrying 202. That's a good strike there. And that's spun at 4.7. So decent spin number there. So it's a higher spin number than what we saw with i500. Yes, lofting has changed a little bit. But, you know, this is a very high precision milled face. Milled sort of grooves here, which is going to help to disperse weight really accurate across that club face. Which is obviously going to help with getting consistent numbers. Wow. I can't believe how high that actually goes. That really is a towering ball flight, yeah, but still getting a sort of reasonable distance there. That's 196, wasn't as pure as that last strike there. Spun at just under 4,900. So the spin, we're starting to see quite a consistent number on that spin there. First strike wasn't the best, just turn that over, that's why that spin dropped, that's more me than the actual golf club there. So let's talk a little bit about what's under the hood. So we mentioned about i200 being very sort of different to i200, even though the looks is quite similar. So what's actually happening here? Well, the elastomer in here, which is this insert at the bottom of the club, this like that bar that you see, basically is filled in there with elastomer, which is a rubber substance. And there's 30% more in there than there was in the i200. So more elastomer there. And the elastomer that they're using now is 50% more softer. Okay, so some big changes here. And then the elastomer now covers 25% more of the club face. So as it goes up in the back, it now starts to go up the club face here, obviously the back of it, by 25% more than i200. So that gives a bit of a sort of softer sort of feel here. And I'm definitely sort of seeing that, even though this isn't forged, there's no forging on this. It does give a very sort of more muted sound. Again, relating this to i500, I've just sort of reviewed. Even though that was a forged face, it was quite a sort of clicky sort of sound because of the hollowness. You know, I think it'd be harder for them to control acoustics of the golf club when there's that hollow there, where obviously the sound can move around in that hollow area. Where obviously i210 here is with that elastomer is that dampening sort of sound really, which again we relate sort of sound with feel. That's a super strike again. Okay, just work off that left edge of the green, 204, carry that. Okay, right, there's the 5 iron. Let's move on to the 7 iron, hit some shots with that. So moving into the 7 iron here, this is lofted at 33 degrees, so a little bit more of a traditional, or towards that traditional sort of loft in here. As I say, this isn't geared around being distance hitting, this is more about being precision and consistency of ball flight here. Generally that better player, more advanced player would ultimately want. Okay, so I'll move myself out here about 175 from the flag. Let's get this first one hit. Oh, wow. Again, very high towering ball flight, feels superb. That's hitting the green very nicely there. Yes, that carried 176 there, which is nice, and that's spun at just under 6,300 there. So again, we're seeing that higher spin number than what we're seeing with i500 here, and definitely a softer feel, and definitely a more muted sort of sound here. So this elastomer is very much playing its part here, and you know, Ping are actually saying this gives off a buttery feel. Maybe won't go as far as saying buttery, but it is a very nice feel. Again, just a tad heavy there. Might just drop off a little bit. That's done all right. That's 171 there. And that spun, yeah, just dropped off a tiny bit of spin here, just under 6,100 there. You generally sort of see that, just catch them a touch heavy, it just pulls a bit of spin off. I probably expect it to pull a bit more off than that, to be fair, because of the strike, but it's held its sort of spin quite sort of nicely there. Yeah, lovely. Feels great. Love the feel of that. Ooh, that was a good one, just over that flag. Closest one I've hit, 174. Again, good consistent number there. Okay, so just going back to this Hyper Pearl sort of finish here. So this is a new 2.0 finish, they're calling it. And it's beautiful because a little bit more of a silvery finish, I think, from the original Hyper Pearl. I haven't got these side by side from the original i200 here, but it definitely looks a little bit more of a silvery finish here. It's not polished, but it's just a little bit more silvery. I think it looks absolutely stunning. It looks quality. The finish of it, as you'd expect from Ping, is second to none. Now, this Hyper Pearl, what's it doing? Now, some interesting stats here. It's saying, it's claiming it's 220% more consistent on spin from the wet. Okay, so this Hyper Pearl is dispersing damp away from that golf ball in this finish, and that's giving a much more consistent spin number from wet conditions. And then they're also claiming it's 35% more consistent spin just from grass alone. Okay, so that's what the finish is sort of doing. So maybe helping to prevent less chance of getting flyers. Generally, the better player who's going to be in this club hates those flyers. They don't want that ball going that extra 10 yards, coming out of maybe some rough or off sort of some, you know, getting damp between the club face and golf ball. They hate that, so maybe this finish is helping in to reduce that. Oh, that's a great strike. Yeah, beautiful flight. Absolutely stunning. Feels great. Sounds beautiful. That looks to be stopping quite quick there. Struck that really good. 173. So we've seen some good consistent land numbers there, and that's spinning at 6,400. Okay, let's move quickly onto the pitching wedge, and then we'll check some numbers in a little bit more detail. Okay, so now I've got the pitching wedge in our hands here. So this is lofted at 45 degrees. Again, stunning look. Now what I'm seeing a little bit more with the wedge is a bit more of a sole relief here. So it's chamfered off on this back edge of this sole here, which is obviously going to help a little bit more with sort of turf interaction here, which obviously is a good thing. Now, shape of that, again, looks great behind that golf ball. Hardly any offset there. If anything, slimish top edge there as we move into that. Quite a biggish sort of face there. So, you know, maybe a little bit bigger than possibly what I would prefer, but again, the shaping of it and the finish of it looks absolutely stunning. Now, the really interesting fact here with the pitching wedge and the U wedge in the i210 set is the grooves are more like the profile of the glide wedges. And what I mean by that is the grooves are slightly tighter together, so closer together. So traditionally you would see maybe sort of 7 grooves as the ball contacts the club face. On the i200 we saw like 7 grooves in contact with that golf ball. Now we're sort of seeing 1 to 2 grooves more contact with the ball with the i210 iron. So basically more friction and more chance of debris, damp, grass getting away into the grooves, which creates more consistency of spin and distance control, which is ultimately what you want with these short irons. And again, less chance of hitting flyers. So I've moved myself out about 130 yards from the green. I'm going to give this wedge a hit here. Again, looks absolutely stunning behind that golf ball. Feels beautiful. Feels really good there. Let's see how that stops. Ah, yeah, plenty of stopping power there. Carried at 127 there, and I had quite a bit of spin there, spinning at, yeah, just under 9,200 there. It's a lovely strike. Nice high ball flight again. They feel absolutely superb though. Can't fault those at all. Again, stopping pretty quick there. 132 carry, better strike on that one than that previous one there. Just spinning around that 9,000 mark again. Lovely. That felt quite nippy, that. Be interested to see the spin on that. I think I might get a little bit more fire on that one. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I could feel that on the face there. Very much sort of clung to the face a little bit more. 132 carry again. Spinning at 9,400. Okay, let's hit one more with the wedge and then we'll go and check some numbers out in a little bit more detail. Ah, stunning. Yeah, I could hit that all day. Feels great, looks great, feels great. 134 carry there, so again, looking at quite a consistent number there. Okay, let's go and check some numbers out in a little bit more detail of the new i210 iron from Ping. Okay, so let's look at numbers. So we've got the 5 iron, 7 iron and pitching wedge here. So let's look at the 5 iron first. So ball speed 133, launching at 16.7, spinning at 4,500 there. So typical sort of spin number I expect to see from this particular loft and style of club, and what it's aiming to do, it's not a low spin, long hitting golf club. It's more trying to get a control and that spin number. So peaking really high there at 37 yards, descending at 47 degrees, and carry distance on average at 199. So we're going from 196 to 204 there with a 5 iron. So 8 yards difference there with a 5 iron. Obviously strike depending there isn't too bad. Looking at the 7 iron here. Okay, 124 ball speed, so nowhere near as quick as i500 here, but it's not supposed to, it's not designed to. Launching at 20 degrees, so it's coming out fairly sort of high there with a higher sort of spin number. Peaking at 39 yards, descending at 50, carried at 173. So that's a good 12 yards less there than the average I got with the i500, okay? But look at the numbers there again, 175, 170, 173, 172, so getting some tight numbers, 5 yards difference between those 4 shots hit. Moving into pitcher wedge, 103 ball speed, launching at 26, spinning at 8842 average there. Peak at 35, descent at 52, carry 130. Again, 126 to 131 there. Getting a little bit of strike orientate there. It's just changing that a little bit more than anything else. Okay, so there we go, the i210 iron from Ping. So obviously an updated version of the i200. To look at visually, not huge differences happening here. Maybe that finish a little bit more than anything. The styling around the back looks exactly the same. But some big changes, maybe what's happening under the hood with that elastomer, 30% more, 50% softer, and 25% more face coverage of the back there. And that's providing a very, very nice sort of feel and muted sound of club face. A little bit more like a forged sort of feel, even though there's no forging happening on this club at all. It's an interesting one with the i500 being forged, a bit clicky because of the hollow head, I've maybe explained before. Or I felt that anyway, and i210 feels stunning. So I think Ping, yes, tick to box, well done to Ping, hats off, another fantastic product. They just keep churning them out, don't they? They're so good at doing this, and that is no exception, i210. Definitely get out and hit that if you're in that category here. Put it in your irons to test, to get fitted for. Loads of shaft options. As you know with Ping, loads of options in terms of lies that cover massive amounts, grips, loftings, this retro spec now, which I think is really interesting there, and I think that's a great addition that Ping have introduced there. Okay, thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on i210 iron from Ping. Post your comments down below. Hit that like button, share the video around, and of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll catch up with you all very soon.